Hello, my name is Anna Sort, Associate Professor at the ICT Department for the Universitat de Barcelona, and I'm going to talk to you about how to apply gamification techniques to mobile health products. So, what is gamification? There are several definitions to the term. My personal favorite one is the use of game thinking and game mechanics to engage audiences and solve problems. Now, games are the main form of entertainment for kids today, but they are also infiltrating every aspect of our daily life. To an extent, we can consider everyone is a gamer, in one form or another, be it through Twitchers, or Candy Crush players, or World of Warcraft. In parallel, gamification is rapidly expanding and has come a long way. Early gamification attempts involved adding simple mechanics, such as points, badges, and leaderboards to existing software. However, Gamification 2.0, as explained by Amy Jo Kim, who is actually visionary on conceptual frameworks for online communities, is about creating game-like digital services that shape real-world behavior and deliver deep value to players, using a blend of intrinsic and extrinsic motivators. So what exactly is game thinking? In recognized top-seller games, the player is taking on a journey, giving them something to learn, master, and share. Jane McGonigal, author of Reality is Broken, describes good games as games that provide a clear goal, a low-risk failure, constant quality feedback, and flow, which means the player is faced with just the right amount of challenge. This is accomplished by gradually changing over time in response to the user's performance. Now, let's look at the game mechanics. Game mechanics are constructs of rules intended to produce gameplay, which I will introduce some of these key elements that are by no means a magical recipe to make a game. Well, the first one is collecting. Collecting is a way to show off what matters to you, be it Pokémons, chromos, achievements, friends, or followers. Another collecting mechanics may be completing a set. Collecting provides status. It's a way to show off in front of friends or strangers. Another mechanic is points. Points can be collected as well as redeemed. They can be posted on a leaderboard, especially if you want to let your players know what is most valued, whether it's performance, or who has brought more people into the system, or who has the most contacts and friends. Points also introduce a level of competitiveness among players, as do levels, which are a good way to express how good you are compared to others. Feedback is another important game mechanic. Game feedback has the power to engage you because it helps you improve by playing the game. There's real-time feedback and overtime feedback, which is successfully implemented, will drive the player towards mastery. Social feedback is important as well, as it can drive engagement by retweeting or Facebook shares or comments. Another game mechanic, which Amy Jo Kim describes very well, is exchanges. She describes exchanges as structured social interaction, such as taking turns or trading. There are two types of exchanges. Explicit exchanges are built into the system and only take place when both parts agree to do it. Examples of explicit exchanges are the trading feature on World of Warcraft or the Add a Friend button on Facebook. Implicit exchanges aren't built into the system and revolve around giving something back just because you care. Examples of implicit exchanges are commenting, sharing, or liking something from a player. They can be very, very powerful. The last one I will introduce is customization. This is the ability to customize an avatar, a profile, or an interface, and should be kept in mind when designing experiences that are compelling and engaging. The more a player customizes their experience, the harder it is for them to lose because the more invested they are. So how do we apply gamification to mobile health? Well, Gabe Zickerman, author of Game-Based Marketing, researched that theme as such isn't related to what we perceive as fun. Games have taught us that it can be a lot of fun to play anything. We can turn the unlikeliest of themes into something fun, from acquiring a fitness habit to changing behavior or learning how to adapt to a chronic illness. To create meaningful experiences, we need to know who is going to be playing and how do they like to engage, understanding what motivates our players and identifying their main needs. To support this process, we can look at the chart developed by Richard Bartle, which defines 4 player types, depending on their behavior. There are the killers, the achievers, the socializer, and the explorers. For example, according to the Bartle chart, points, badges, levels, and leaderboards appeal primarily to achievers. Based on this classification, Amy Joachim created a social engagement actions chart, which define how players engage in a social environment. Exploring, competing, and expressing, or collaborating are those. In mobile health, I would recommend a multiplayer approach. Another aspect we have to work on when designing a game experience is building positive emotions, as they say in the positive psychology field. These positive emotions need to be built into your core activity loop, and this can be achieved by allowing self-expression, giving the player freedom to explore, and building trust. Look at game design as a 3-step process. First of all is about bringing players on board with a tutorial. Then comes the habit building during the grinding phase, and finally mastery, the elder game. Remember that each engagement loop will have to look different for each step, as a journey would from novice to master. As a player progresses, be sure to unravel greater challenges and have them become gradually more complex. Build a system that's easy to learn and hard to master. Progress mechanics, such as points, leaderboards, and badges, should appear as you develop the game, not what the game is about. They should be there to accompany the player's journey towards learning and mastery. Remember that dynamics, what happens over time, is way more important than progress mechanics. Another very important challenge game designers have to keep in mind is motivating the player with intrinsic rewards. Dan Pink talks about this in the book Drive, in which he defines 3 intrinsic motivators: power, autonomy, and belonging. Being aware of these motivators can help us identify our players' needs and make sure that they are covered in the game design. I wanted to finish by saying mobile technologies offer a fantastic opportunity for mobile health products, largely because of their accessibility. Just remember to make sure you keep your games easy to use and able to embed external content, such as photos and player-generated content. These and a good social infrastructure, including tools enabling players to share and engage with others, should give your game a head start.